to application moment. It's a great time to have you here. What we do every time is to engage Pastor Emmanuel Abuaje, who is the head pastor of CCC, Kumasi City Mall Transformation Center. And based on the sermons he's preached over the time we engage him, we ask questions that would help you improve your understanding in the Word of God. And today, to help us, we have some church members who are here with also the head pastor. First on our panel is Pastor Emmanuel Abuaje, who is the head pastor of CCC, like I rightly said. Pastor, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And then we also have with us a very wonderful and able minister of God and a member of the church in the person of Walali. Walali, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
And finally, on the panel, we have with us another pastor, that's Pastor Ejari, who is also the pastor for CCC, Kumasi City Mall. And Pastor, you're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so for today, we have a sermon that was preached by Pastor Emmanuel Abuaje, which is the three things that define your mandate. I'd like to start like you always do with him. So, Pastor, when we talk of mandate, what do we really mean?
When we say mandate is like a commission, something that you've been commissioned to do. It's your assignment. It's the target that has been set for you, something that you have to accomplish. So I can say mandate is like a mission that has been given to you to do.
All right, so you talk about the three things that would help us fulfill this mission or this mandate. Maybe if you could elaborate on them again, and then that will give the chance for also the panelists to probe in their questions.
Okay. So the three things that defines your mandate is your identity. I mentioned identity, your purpose, and then your long-range intention or vision or your intention. So your identity is the thing that makes us see who you are. So identification is who you are. Your purpose is why I'm here, and long-range intention where I'm going. So that is what defines your mandate. Everybody has something that it's like a brand image. When we see you, we should be able to identify you with something. And so that is very important. Like I gave example, David is a king. He was a shepherd in the wilderness. Identification can be changed. Your identity can be changed. There's something, if you're a Christian, God has given you an identity. So whatsoever is born of God overcome this world. This is the victory we have, even our faith. And so we are born of God. As many that believed in John 1 verse 12, as many that believed in, he gave them the right to become the children of God. So that identity has been given unto. However, if you like, when we come apart from that, there are identifications we have or identity we have in this world. If you don't like it, you can change it because it's possible you can change it. You just have to choose the right one. Or you have to recognize your identity, what God has given to you. People are doing exploit, but they are still comparing themselves to another person. You see, your identity is what differentiates you from the other. That makes the difference. Your purpose is why you are here. Why are you doing what you are doing? So David was a king, but he was a king because of the people of Israel. He had a long-range intention. He wanted to conquer so many. He saw what God wanted to do in his life. Abraham is the same thing. Abraham, God said, I'm calling you out of your countries and your family. I'm calling you out of your family. Why? Because he was going to give him a new identification. Abraham was a pagan, but he called him out, gave him a new name. Said, now you are called Abraham, father of many nations. And so what is the purpose? There's a Christ in there, in you. And so that is what it is. And then there's a long-range intention. God wants to save the whole world. So that is there in the short term, in the mid-term, and in the long term. So that is how, yeah.
Okay, so I'll give Olali the chance to also ask. I believe you have some questions you want to probe on. So you could get the first one.
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So I'd want to talk about someone who has a business plan. So you found your identity and then you found your purpose and now you have a plan, but here lies the case, you're in a place like where you are or you find it difficult to do what you want to do. Okay, let me put it this way, like there's not much money to do what you want to do. So how do you accomplish this so that you can get your purpose running and then your business running?
You see, purpose is the raw material. Purpose. Okay, so let's say purpose is a mission, is your reason why you exist. But the purpose need a package, right? So that is why no matter your resources, there is a model that can help you accomplish your purpose. So let me give an example. Like if I'm a pastor, I'm called. The fact that I won't get the more doesn't mean I can't fulfill my purpose. So if I don't have money to afford a venue like this, I still can accomplish my purpose because there are many models that through it I can use. And the way we do church today, it's not like this is not how Jesus was doing church in his days. This is a type of model that has been developed. It has evolved. The church has evolved. So there are a lot of alternatives. You can do church on now even with the internet. You can do on Facebook Live and so many things. You can do church under a tree. You can do church under a roof. You can do church in another rented apartment. You can get a land. Do so many things. So you just have to find a model for your resources. So even if you want to sell tomatoes, for instance, and you say you want to sell tomatoes or produce tomatoes in a large quantity, so you want to go and get a place like ShopRite, and you don't have money, that is your long-term or long-range intention. But there's a model that can help you start. You can start on the table, but that model is there. You can start on the table. So that is how you deal with it. So you start with a resource, you get a model that will fit your resources and your personality, your identity. You get what I'm saying? Because you are dealing with identity, you are dealing with purpose and long-term intention. So do I get a model that fits my identity? Will this model fit my purpose? And in the long range intentions, will I be able to make the journey to the place with this model and improve? Yes, you can change the model as you move on. So that is how model is the secret. Yes.
Follow up quickly to that. So, talking about products, for instance, about building value on the purpose of, let's say, on the instance of having a model to follow. And we're also talking about identity as uniqueness. Okay, so how then can we still stand out as unique when there's a model that, let's say, you are building or you're sort of modeling your life after? I mean, what brings the uniqueness?
We adapt models. Yes. Model is more of specification. So when I say model, for instance, I have a product, my pricing. So a model includes a lot of things. A business model, organizational model include a lot of things. It could be the type of customers you want, the type of product you are selling, the kind of environment you are selling it. So there's a whole model. It's not just like maybe a product. Model is something that you draw. You think around different pillars. This is the pricing I want to price. This is how I want to price my product. I want to sell a product maybe 5 cities. So there are a lot of the same people who are selling similar product at 5 cities. Okay, so you look at all that, you benchmark all those aspects, and then it comes together to be a model. Yeah. So once you have that, so you just have to adapt it.
Yes. So, Pastor, then again, I was asking. So, um, we still have a model to follow, right? But then we still want to be unique. I mean, our identity has to be unique. Like you said, it's like a fingerprint. It's unique. Everybody has their own uniqueness. So if I want to stand out unique, I still have a model I'm following. But then how can I still ensure that, okay, what I'm having is my personal identity? It's not just trying to replicate what somebody has done.
Okay, so the the ingredient you put together gives you the point of difference. You have parity. We all develop parity because there are things that are similar with the model, but you need to develop a point of difference so that in case people have similar models, we will see the difference. So parity and point of difference. So how do we create the point of difference? It is the various aspects of the model, how you would do it. Maybe party A has a pricing, he says, my model, I'm using differentiation. You are using differentiation, but he says that I'm going to invest more into my product quality. But you said, no, I'm going to invest more into customers. So it makes a difference. Like if you look at the telecommunication, they are doing similar thing, but they all have point of difference. They have an aspect they are strengthening that is making them different. So we will have all aspects. So we say all pastors will do the same thing. We all delivers. We do deliverance. We all do prayer. We all do everything that pastors do, we have standard because the members need all that. They need prayer. If you're a pastor, it's different from you being a prophet, apostle, or whatever. A pastor is feeding the flock. All problems that members have, they will come to you. Some will come with finance, some will come to you. But at the end of the day, we have points of difference. So I need to have something that the thing differentiates me from others. So in competition, I'm not saying church you use competition, but if you're doing a business, in competition, we say uniqueness makes you compete. Similarities is not competition. Uniqueness. What do I do? What can I do that Walali is not doing that but add value? You see, now the moment we are the same, it's no more competition. We compete when I have the difference. I've made a clear difference in what the person. Yes.
I believe Mr. Jerry is already itching to ask loads of questions, so we'll then go to him. So,
Okay. My questions will come later, but I just want to an add up to what he said so far. With mandate is more or less like an authority that has been given to you. You are mandated to do particular thing, so the authority has been given unto you, and so you must be able to identify that kind of authority that has been given unto you, and that authority must come, just as he has been saying, with a brand. The moment you speak, anyone who hears it without seeing your face will know this is the person speaking. That is that mandate that has been given unto you. It is for you alone. Okay, and so it must come with that brand. You must be identified as this is the kind of person who is speaking. This is the kind of person who is doing that thing. Okay, so one thing I've come to realize is with your identity. You see, when anyone sees you, he makes his mind up about you within some few seconds. Why? Because you have a brand. You have identified yourself with a particular brand. And so we must focus on that in a way of, or in as much as you are trying to identify yourself. That identification must come with a brand. Don't just identify yourself as I am this, but you must come, just as Pastor has always been saying, it must come with a brand, which is a promise. Okay, so when you identify yourself, you have been given that authority to do that which you have identified. Okay, so how can I continue to follow that identity that you have been able to give unto me? It must come with a brand. I must know that the moment this person speaks, the moment this person is given this work to do, it's a promise that it's going to be delivered. So you don't just identify yourself out of that mandate, but you must have a promise. It must come with a brand that this is what I will give. If you're able to follow me, this is what I will give. If you're able to listen to me, if this is what I'm going to give. If you're able to invest in me. So it's one area that as Christians, as business people, you must take note of. So that authority that you have been able to identify, you must add a brand to it. Okay? Because I know most people have been able to identify who they are. Okay? But that identity has no promise. There's no brand. And so you realize that it doesn't last. It's not being sustained. And so we must focus on, in as much as we want to identify ourselves, let's come or add to our identity a promise or a brand.
sure. But then, okay, I'm still going to go back to the identity aspect. Scripture says, as long as the heir is a child, he's likened unto a slave. So, I mean, there are people who, but let me even ask it this way. How would one be able to identify himself? Because, I mean, if that's the first point, as long as your identity is wrong, then it means already it wouldn't even lead to you finding the responsibility and then finding the reward or the results that come from it. So then how can somebody know that, okay, this is my identity, okay, this is the right identity I want to have, and so how can I help towards it? I mean, Pastor said something about choosing. Okay, so how can somebody choose the identity?
Okay, I think that as a child, those who can equally help you to identify yourself must come first from the family. Because you are a child, you know less. Okay, so it must be a responsibility of the parent or the society or the community which you find yourself to be able to help you identify yourself. But in Africa, that's the problem we're having. We leave every child to him or herself. Okay, and so if you want to grow as Christians, the society must come in. Parents must take note that yes, though my child is very young, I must be able to help the child to identify who he or she is. You see, though you might not be able to fully help him identify. But you put the person on a platform, okay, to be able to identify himself. So as you are teaching him, as he's growing, he begins to identify who he is. So I think that mostly, or most importantly, it must start from the parent or the society. We must come in and help every child to be able to identify themselves. We don't only leave it to the school, but it must begin from the house. You must be able to tell this kind of identity that you want to place or God has placed upon your child. So it must begin from the house, it must begin from the society, the community, even before the nation can sing.
So, Pastor, I want you to add something, but let me twist this a bit. Okay, so in this modern era where society seems to be more self-centered in the sense that, okay, I'm just looking out for myself alone. Okay, and there's this idea that it takes a whole community to raise a child and then to groom them. So, what are, I mean, in finding your identity, what are the demerits then to us?
The Bible said that imitate those who have through faith and patience have obtained precious promise. Whatever God want to do for you or want to do through you, God wouldn't come to do it with you. He always have people who you are going to model your life after. So that's what the Bible said, imitate those through faith and patience. They have obtained the precious promises. Like I said the other time, whatever your dream, it is somebody's reality. If you want to marry, somebody's already married. If you want a car, somebody already have a car. If you want to build a business, somebody already have a business. If you want to have a ministry, any level of ministry you want to go, somebody has been there. When Abraham met God and God called him, God brought Melchizedek for him to know he's not there alone. You see, so always there will be somebody. So you would have to pick the person. Now, after you've picked the person, and as you grow into it, you gradually develop something according to your personality, because a lot of ingredients comes together. Your personality type, because when I say personality, I mean your attributes, your traits, the way you make decisions. That also affects the model or the one you are modeling yourself after. So the person is this way. Like for us, like let me use Pastor Hansford is our model, simplicity and all that. But my background is a bit different. Where I grew, where I went to school is a bit different. So I add certain few things to what Pastor Ransford is. So, but I become something better, maybe an improved. Every child must be an improved version of their parents. They don't become exactly. Now, sometimes, like succession, people will be wondering, okay, how am I going to step into my father's shoe and all that? That's why category creation is there. So I don't know whether that is too complex, but I wish I could explain that. Okay, let me try and explain it. We have a law we call 22 irrefutable laws of marketing. The first law is that you have to enter first. So I enter the market first. So when I enter into the market first, people know me. So if right now I say, go and buy toothpaste, you go and say you want to buy Pepsodent. Because Pepsodent is in the minds of the people. But let's say you go to a place and there's a market leader. What do? So you go to the second law, which is creating category. So it means that it's the same paste, but you are now creating a category, a different thing that will let people also recognize you. So for example, there was a magazine company in the US that they were producing a lot of magazines. So there's another magazine company that wanted to come in, but they realized that magazine company has saturated the market. So the new entrant is thinking, okay, what do I do? So they changed their strategy and they said, we are going to do women's magazine. So they became the first women magazine in America. So you see, they've created a new category, but it's the same magazine. So there are a lot of opportunities. When I go to places and I do leadership training, I speak to the pastors there. You don't have to compete with your pastor. All you have to do is to create a category within. So you can do family life. So family life, you can do seminars, you can do conferences. That is a category. You see, you don't have to come and preach the same thing he's preaching. They won't recognize you because maybe he's doing better than you. And it will stress you. So why don't you create a category? So I've been to churches where I was not the lead, but I started leadership seminars. So there's a category, there's always a job in the church or in the business you are in. There's something there that you can do. So you see, when market is saturated, when place is a saturated place, innovation and creativity is what opens rooms, to create space. So there's opportunity to create space within the space. So there's always space. You have to create it. Wherever you go and it's already saturated, you have to, through creative and innovation, you create categories within it. You create categories. I don't go anywhere and start seeking for position. The reason is that position itself is a lot of responsibility already. So what I do is that I create a category, and that is how you'll be recognized. See, you find something within. Like, you see, Paul came to join the disciples late, but he was the most recognized disciple. Why? Because he went for the Gentiles. And then he was able to do a lot. He did a lot of writing. They had their stereotypes, but he came in and did a lot of difference. So that's why identity is important. You can create that. Recognize it. As I'm here, what can I do best? My personality, these are my attributes. I can speak well, I can sing well, I can be a journalist, I can do that and all that and all that. Then you create that category. And that makes you, but if you do that, it comes with a purpose. So am I creating that? What is my intention for that? I want to aid the pastor to do more. If I do that and I add, we create more value. So in times of always, one thing that I have learned is that in time of crisis, I have to look for opportunity to add value. That is a mindset I have had for many time, for a long time. So if I see something happening, I think of, okay, how can I add the value? And that is how people will recognize. So you need to have the identity, creating an identity within a space, having a purpose for that identity. Why am I doing that? Then you have a long-range intention. You have an intention that maybe in 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, this is how I want to see myself. And so that helps you. And in fact, they have done a research. In prison, those who didn't have identity, those who didn't have purpose, those who didn't have long-range intention killed, most of them committed suicide. They said they even ran into the electrified fence. But those who had a long-range intention, I'm here, and I want to go and see my family. So I'm going to see, those things help them to survive. People, look, I've worked with a lot of people. People didn't have long-range intention, leave their job quickly. you know, they leave the job quickly. But when they come and they say, for me, when becoming a pastor and CC, I had in mind, I'm going to do this for a long time. I had that in mind. So it allows me to invest because I'm going to be here for a long time. I don't have any other thinking. I'm going to be here for a long. If God says move, I'll move. It's not like I want to do this one, and I've practiced that before elsewhere, and I realized it didn't work. Because the more you say you don't have a long range intention, your mind will be, oh, I'll leave soon before it says 1 year. I'll leave soon 2 years. I'll leave soon 3 years. I'll leave soon 4 years. Why don't you settle and say, I have a long range. I'm going to do this for a long time. Then you put in your best.
And you'll be holding for a long time too. I think, yeah, so we come back to Pastor Jerry. You said you had a list of questions. Maybe you could throw them in now.
Oh, okay. Today during the service, you made mention of that whenever there's a crisis, it depends on who is in the crisis to whether see it as a problem or a job.
Yes.
And I realized that it was a very important point that I have taken note of. And so, as a pastor, how would members, or let me put in a bigger scope, Ghanaians or Africans, how are we going to be able to identify ourselves during that moment? That though it might not be your field, but you can take an advantage of that. So how are we going to see whatever crisis we are going through as a job or an opportunity for us to make a name rather than seeing it as a problem.
Yes, in fact, as you see, every crisis, you can see every crisis as a job. You see, that is the disposition of a leader. That's why I said every challenge you see is an opportunity to add value. So you see it as a job. And that is the difference between us and the Western world. If you look into the Bible, the reason the Israelites, the generation that couldn't make it to Canaan, the problem is that they saw every problem as a complaint. So there are three groups of people. There are people who are aggressive. They move against people. There are people who complain. They always come against people. You know, they come and say, you are the one. You are the one. You are the one who did that. You are the one who did this. You are the one. They don't see the challenge as a job. When you see it as a job or a work, it means you are going to fix it. Wherever you bring, it makes you creative and very innovative. It doesn't put stress on you. I don't think, Bible says, see, Ecclesiastes 10 verse 10, it said that when there is a task, if you have skill, you exert less strength. But if you are not with skill, you exert more strength. So you become excesses. You become stress on your life. So if you don't want it to be stressed, look at it as a job. Enjoy it. How am I going to fix it? What are the learning curves? What am I doing? The learning and growth. What have I learned new? How am I going to improve this? You see, there was a time I came home and my whole room was flooded because the tap was not flowing. So when I opened, I forgot to close it. When I came to food, I put my bag down, picked the bucket, started fetching, and I was counting the buckets because I was interested. I was enjoying the process. That how much water was in my room. I was counting the bucket, and it was a lesson for me. If I see a challenge, it doesn't. I have in mind that this I can come out, I can fix it. I can fix it. It makes me creative. You see, any lazy person is not creative. In fact, I had something on my notes. I couldn't say it. You know, for preaching, you have a less time to talk about. I wrote why people don't achieve, people become slow. What makes things slow and people don't achieve results? Obstacles. But if you see obstacle as an opportunity, as a job, I'm going to deal with this. Because a mechanic will see your car, you say you have a problem, you see the car, he will be happy. He will sit down with his tool and he gets to that obstacle and he starts working on it. And at the end of the day, so a leader's disposition is that, okay, I'm going to solve this thing. What are the things I need? What are the tools that I need? What are the skills? So even if I don't have a skill, I have to assemble the skills. So where am I going to get them? They come. I need tools. They will come. Of course, if you have a skill, you are going to come with a tool. So what are the resources that I need? Then you begin to bring them together. Before you see, you have solved the problem. You see, you solved it. So that is how you should think. For me, there are a lot of challenges I've gone, and I enjoy all of them. Yes, I have learned, and so that's how I was telling my wife, so that one of the things that helped me to overcome stress is that when there's something worrying me, I see that I look at it and what are the opportunities in this trial? Because when David saw Goliath, he saw that this is the opportunity. Because when he heard the price linked to that Goliath, he said, wow, this is an opportunity. You know, people get opportunity to go to the top and they don't see. But they think, oh, this is a crisis for me. Oh, why God me? So that's why when Christians are on the mountain praying, God, why me? Why me? Then God is laughing at them. It's an opportunity for promotion. You are crying. He asked Moses. Moses was crying. So, Moses, why are you crying to me? What is in your hand? Stretch forth the rod and divide the sea. You know, so it makes you famous. Nobody has become famous without solving a problem. No. You have to solve a problem to become famous. That's as a product of famous is a product of effectiveness. It's not like I wear 6-piece dress and that. When I understood these things, I don't whatever I wear t-shirt, whatever I don't care. Yeah, I mean, when I become famous, my t-shirt will mean that famous people wear t-shirts.
Exactly. All right, so people of God, we are still here on the application moment, and we'll still go back. If you have questions, don't forget to let them come in, and we'll address them. All right, so back to you again. I believe Polali has set of questions that I saw her jotting down some questions, so she would want to
Well,
probably
always have.
go them.
There are a lot of questions.
So,
Uh-huh.
okay, so Polali will take.
Okay, so during the preaching, and even now, you stated that you enjoy when these challenges come. Yeah, so if you could tell us briefly what you do, how do you enjoy? Like, what do you do when that time happens, and that makes you enjoy the process? Like, what comes to mind?
No, everybody, and if work, if I'm, let me put it this way: when you are working, you are supposed to enjoy the work. If it's your work, so if you see it as your work and you get to it and you are solving, you see that it's enjoyable because it's engaging your mind. And then you see, when you solve, you see little victories. They realize that little victories create a lot of motivation. So, for instance, when I was mentioning about the water has filled the whole place, fetching is seeing me, myself fetching, and I'm getting results. It's giving me a lot of hope. So, the little victories you get us going. So, we started church, we went to Cove, and then it's a victory. It gets us excited. Everybody was like, wow, look at them. They are worshiping here. But we have a long range intention. We said, okay. Then we came here. And we thought, wow, okay. It's little victories. So you don't design things and model, business model without short-term successes. You see. So once the problem is there, try to solve it. Maybe if your car is not fixed, it's not working, and you start solving it, then you see that you fix the tire. You're happy now. The tire is there. It's left with the car to start. The car started. It's okay. Now I have to buy fuel. You bought fuel. So the little victories gives you hope, and it makes you excited. So that is how you create the enjoyment and the motivation within. And the motivation, the moment you start creating motivation, and energy is created for you to move on. Look, if we come to church and nobody is coming, our energy will be sad. You see, it will be drained. But then people come, and people come, and people go. So in your mind, you want to create certain little victories for yourself. You don't have to. Many people focus on big things. Why don't you look at the little victories, count your blessings, and name them one by one? Okay, I've done this. At least I sold. You see, when I'm selling products, I sell a lot of things. I do a lot of things. So when I start a business, do you know what happened? When I sell my first product, I'm happy. Oh, it works. When I sell second product, it works. I sell third product, it works. When you see people selling on the street, people so these people are these people making money? I tell the person who tells me that if they are not making money, they won't come the next day. They are getting some victories. That's why they are there. So that is very important. So you create little victories for yourself, and I believe you will.
There's a
Yeah.
right.
Thank you very much, Pastor. So, what happens when you are not in the job you like, or you are not in the place you love? You don't love what you are doing, but you happen to be there. How do you deal with it when the challenges come? How do you now sack your mind to enjoy that process?
So it's perspective. You see, let me take it two ways. One is I don't like the place, and they have no choice. Adaptability. To succeed, you need to be adaptable and agile. You need to adapt. Even in marriage, people who have survived long in marriage, they've adapted. Some of them didn't love their wives or husbands, but they've been in it. They've adapted. When you go to places, you don't have any option. You adapt like Ghana. You know, Ghana is difficult. If you say America free visa, people will go, but we adapting. You find a way to be successful. So when Bible say be content, that is one of the meaning. Succeed with what you have anyway. You see. Number two, let's say I'm doing something I have no skill in it and all that. Two, when we say somebody has the capability to succeed, is two ways. One, he has the skill and the requisite knowledge. Or he knows someone who has the skill and the requisite knowledge. Once he knows somebody who can solve the problem, he has the ability to succeed. Now, if they say, if they are going to do CCC program the whole Ghana, and they say every branch is going to sing. I won't be worried. I have singers. I won't go and stand there and say I'm the branch pastor. I'm coming to sing. How do you do that? Those who will be afraid or will not be happy are those who say, okay, I don't have a singers in my place. But if I do have, why should I be? So either you have the skill and the capability yourself, or you know someone who has it. They are all going to take you to the same destination. Yes.
So just a quick follow-up on that. So you made mention about position, not making people, let's say, leaders,
Yes.
but then the sense of responsibility,
Yes.
identity, and then
Yes.
also, what's the name? Purpose.
Purpose.
Yeah. So, particularly where we find ourselves, where people are more into, okay, I want to go into, let's say, a particular field of work, okay, because of the rewards that come with it, and then in some cases, they use dubious means and all that. I mean, as Christians, when it comes to some of these things, what should be our stand? What should be our take on it?
So as in if for positions and all that, and you see, be excellent. There's something that people be so effective that people can't ignore you. You don't worry. The people who are watching you, they are unseen. In fact, people who recommend us, they are a lot of them. We don't see them. Before you know, before some years after, and then you will tell you that it is this man who recommended you. So to be so effective, that's what the Bible said. We should see a man diligent at his work. The word diligent, if you check the dictionary, it means somebody who is careful with his work. He is so good at it. They will come and call you. And so that's what Oprah said. If you want to fight against racism, sexism, you want to fight against discrimination, it's excellence. And be so successful that the next person after you, the gap is wide. Bible said Daniel was 10 times better than his contemporaries. No, there was no way the king is not going to call him. They plotted, did a lot of things, but he survived. Why? Because he was 10 times better than him. He had the wisdom, he has the knowledge. Bible said that God said he will bless you and your enemies will make friends with you. How is it going to happen? You are so good. So you are their enemies, but they are coming for you. Do you know that there's something in business like competitors collaborating? There's a model in the business. So Microsoft and Apple are competitors. But when Apple wanted to develop something, they went for Microsoft. They were tight, they were arch rivals. But he went for Microsoft. So your enemies will become your friends. You see, at the bottom of the mountain, there are a lot of people. So the Kululu will have you. But at the top, there are only few people. They have no choice. But it's a long-range intention. So you have to have a plan. But look, I'm going to be better. You are looking at what are the gaps you are going. The whole place, everybody is degree, then you go and do masters. Everybody knows that they go and do PhD. Everybody does this. Can I do that? So you are always ahead. Mercy is so good that Barcelona, though they don't like him, they pretend they like him, but they don't like him. The what do you call it? The board, and there are people who don't like, but they have no choice. The guy will make you win the match. Ronaldo, he's boastful. They don't like him. They want it, but they have no choice. His enemies are his friends. They will come. He said, prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You will sit with them. They have no choice. They need you on the table. It is your security. You need to provide security for yourself. But if you are not effective, redundancy, retrenchment, you are gone. But if you are good, they will keep you. We can't let this person go. You see, so those are the...
That's been great. In fact, it's been insightful. I really wish we could continue and then have a further celebration. But we'll still come your way some other time with probably the same panel, the same topic again, and we'll delve into it way more. It's been fun having you with us. This has been Application Moment. But before we go, we'll take final messages from our panelists, your take-home message, and what you would want us to, as your viewers, as your listeners, as your people of the same faith, what should be our message? I'll start with Pastor Jerry.
Okay, thank you. Today, pastors made mention of something which I think it was very inspiring. That if a poor person wears chalewate, it's of no value. But that same chalewati, a rich man will wear it and it will add value to it. And what I'm getting from this is that if you add value to yourself, the little things that people disrespect, because of you, they'll begin to respect it. And so we must try as much as we can to add value to ourselves. We must be able to identify who we are. And then during the identification, you must think of a long range will be able to sustain. It must be sustained. Okay, so that anytime you touch something, it must be of gold. It's very important. So my message to everyone out there is that try to add value to yourself wherever you are. Add value, and because of you, anything that is of no value will have value from that moment. God bless us all.
Thank you. All right. So,
Yeah.
Olali.
Okay, so based on everything that was said, one thing that I got from it was that take every crisis as a challenge. And when you do that, you start having ideas of how to solve that challenge. So it doesn't become a downfall, but then it becomes an improvement in your life. So that's something small I have.
Then, Pastor, let's say now I'm putting everything together in, let's say, one sentence, which somebody would have, and it would always remind the person that, okay, this is a key thing I took from here. I mean, what should that be?
So your like I said in the message when I was concluding, no, I think in the middle, I said that your identity is directly linked to your responsibility, and responsibility is linked to reward. Your identity comes with some responsibility. You have to bear fruit, like Jesus said, I have appointed you to go and bear fruits and bear much more, so that whatsoever you ask of me, I will give it to you. So it is very important. We have to have the sense of responsibility. Wherever you are, make an impact. See every problem as an opportunity to add value. Make an impact. Let people see that whilst you are there is going to be a change. Don't go there like that. There are people in places, I don't do that. When I am somewhere, no. I'm somewhere, I look for opportunity to add value. I don't compete with people with position. No, when I come, I'm around. You know. Yes, because I will add value. I immediately will be looking for opportunity to add value. Where? I won't come and say, Pastor, I have no problem. No. You will feel my presence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will feel my presence. Yeah, so that mentality should be there, should be our disposition. And I believe that is what God wants for us. He wants us to be the light of this world. He wants us to be the salt. If something is spoiling and you come in, you know it's going to work. Some people come and there's problem, they put their hand on their head. No, your mind should start working. God, give me wisdom. What do we do? Give me wisdom. Let's do this. And that is what is going to accomplish. So when we have that mindset, it's going to be awesome.
Thank you. And then there again, we would like to say, identity is always linked with responsibility, and then that would come with a reward. So don't jump the step. And it definitely would be well with all of us. Thanks for being with us. In fact, thank you, Pastor Emanuel Abaji, for sticking with us. In fact, for your time, sharing the word with us. Also, Olali, it's been great having you. And then our own Pastor Ajari, God bless you too for staying with us. God bless you all. In fact, it's been great with all of you. So see you guys again next week, people of God. It's going to be another amazing time with awesome and amazing panelists. We delve into the word of God. See you. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.